Okay, hi, Alissa.
Hey, Katy.
Hi, Mary.
Hi, y'all.
Okay, we have a guest literally in studio today, which is very exciting for me. This is Mary. And I'm going to tell you all about Mary. But before I tell you about Mary, Mary is my literal number one referrer. She is a past client, and she has sent me all of her family. She's not here because of that, though. I'm going to tell you why she's here. Mary Ruiz, LPC, is a licensed professional counselor and the practice owner of Ruiz Counseling and Consulting. Counseling is a second career for Mary, and she has been practicing since May of 2022. Prior to her career as a therapist, she managed sales and large-scale proposal efforts for a small business. Today, Mary works with teens and adults seeking a safe and empowering therapy space. While she works with a variety of mental health concerns, she's passionate about working with autistic people and those diagnosed with ADHD or OCD. And I will tell you, we often joke, Mary, on the show that we're having podcast therapy between the two of us because we're talking through issues.
Yeah.
But I posted something in my stories. I think it was the old people reel, and they're dancing about boomers they bought their house for 7 acorns and they're selling it for like $2 million or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And you DM'd me and said, I cannot tell you how many people end up in therapy over their real estate issues. So will you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do? And then we'll tackle all the real estate reasons why people need therapy.
Yeah. I am a licensed professional counselor. I recently got my full licensure. Went back to school at 30 and decided I needed something that was a little bit more me professionally. I love it. And I do mostly see people who are neurodivergent or identify as neurodivergent, ADHD, autism, OCD, some other diagnoses can be considered that as well. It's a big umbrella. But in general, I see about 20 clients a week and I really love it.
I love that.
I really love it.
When did you help her buy her house?
Oh, I should have looked at the year. How long have you been there?
We bought it just before we had Ivy, so 2014.
Okay, so you've been in your home a while.
Yeah, for a long while.
She's trapped there like the rest of the people who need therapy. No, she's not trapped there.
Well, I mean, yes and no. I was thinking about this from a client perspective because I'm very happy in our home, but we do want something bigger. And it's like when you quit a job and go back to school and then get student loan debt and then have a one income household for a while. It's really tough. And that's what a lot of people deal with, forever.
Yeah.
That's the plan. And it should be a good plan, but it's not always.
It's not always a good plan.
I did want to say, I remember you telling me that I was the first client of yours that actually interviewed you. And I was laughing so hard about that
because you were so young. I mean, you were a very youthful first-time buyer. And you were like, I need to interview you first. And I'm like, hey, okay, I have no problem with this, but it is new to me. And now,
so she interviewed you as a buyer's agent.
Yes.
Oh,
and now I think that's
awesome.
I thought that was normal.
You should. No.
Yeah, you should.
It should be normal.
Mm-hmm.
It should be normal.
She thought it was normal. It worked out fine. Obviously, I got hired, and then you've sent me your sisters and friends, and like I said, you're such a great referrer. So I guess I passed. Not only did I pass my interview, I must have done a decent job in the actual process.
You did. You're like a real human.
Yes, Thank you. Yeah, it's so funny now because I think people are having to interview their agents more and more because of the way the laws have changed in the last year.
Yeah.
So you were a real trailblazer of a buyer.
I was also, I feel like, way more serious and older. Like when I was early 20s.
You're an old soul.
I was like, I am getting these things done. Yes, very much. And now I'm like, that is so embarrassing.
You're going, no, it's not embarrassing at all. I love it. I love it so much.
Do you love listening to the podcast but miss us the rest of the week? Well, you can come follow along on social media and see our faces all week long. Katy, where can they find us?
You're not going to believe this. We're on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, Threads, Pinterest, MySpace, Clubhouse, and Vine. Just kidding. We're not on MySpace, Clubhouse, and Vine.
No. But you can follow us at any of those at Hustle Humbly Podcast. So come hang out with us. We'd love to see you there.
Okay, so let's dive into this DM a little bit. Because you literally sent me a laundry list of reasons why people seek therapy during their like possible real estate transactions. Will you reiterate that list for me? Because I was dying.
Yeah. Where is that list? Because, here it is. Preparing to sell, selling, buying for the first time, building for the first time, buying and selling, renovating, buying and renovating, buying and renovating an additional property while you're doing any one of those things at the same time. And I will say not most people. I do have a client that came in specifically because they were so stressed out because of a real estate thing. Most clients I'm already seeing, and this is weaved into their, I got to talk about this today.
It's just another source of stress.
Correct, right? Something that they can have anxiety about, or something that makes them more depressed, or something that causes relational issues, financial issues, which also cause relational issues with your people.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of reasons to be stressed out by our homes.
What do you feel like? Is there like a prime reason why they're stressed, or this is like something that gets woven in? Like, what is the big stressor when it comes to real estate?
I think it's just change.
Yeah,
really, I think it's just change. Even if you consider yourself a person who is like, I like change, it's pretty fun. It brings about some things that maybe you weren't expecting emotionally, again, financially, or just the tasks that build. It's a lot of change. And sometimes people get a little bit paralyzed with like the emotional part of that, and then having to get all the practical things done. It can be difficult for people to merge that together. Like, I can hold my feelings and get these things done at the same time.
right.
And it's hard. It's just change.
Do you feel like, especially with seeing, I think maybe neurodivergent people, it's even more difficult because there's so much executive functioning going along with buying or selling a home or a property, where you're like, I have to do this new list of tasks that I don't normally do.
Yes. I have a client that, we weren't working on stress from selling her home for a long time, but the entire process of her doing that, which was a couple of months, that's what we worked on every time she was in session. And sometimes it would be, all right, let's get this on paper. Let me help you, because I know how we can just have everything coming at once, and it's really hard to prioritize and organize all of that. So brain dump right here in session, and let me help you. Oh, you told me this was more important than, to you than this was last time. And you said that, your brother could do this, so I just remind people what they've told me.
What they've already said.
Right. Just to help them stay, organized, and also being able to like talk about their emotions.
Are you having to help them sort through as a buyer? Like, well, you said this was your priority and now you're worried about this. Like, do you feel like you're having to also help them remember, like, you can't have everything when you go to buy? I feel like that is more so something I notice in my like friends or family. And with clients, it's like a little deeper than that. Like, if they are picky about something, I may not hear that as much. Now, if someone's coming in, I don't really think I've experienced this, where it's like nothing is ever good enough for them and they've been on the search for forever. I haven't personally experienced a client like that. I know, I heard in some of your other episodes. Family and friends, sure. I've experienced that with family and friends. But no, not so much.
I think you made a good point, how sometimes you're just telling them what they already know and they're writing things down. And it's funny because on our end, I think we see the same thing when they need their parents' approval. Well, I need my mom to see the house, or my best friend. I've had someone be like, I would really like my boss to come see the house. And it's like during this process, they want so much affirmation that they are making the right decision. It's almost like the most confident of people second guess everything when they are in the process of selling or buying and just figuring it out.
Is you saying the most confident people? I honestly, confident and competent people with change can sometimes take it the worst, like the type A'ers, right? That you've got this really well organized. It's fine, but it's not perfect. That can be really difficult for people, and people that are more laissez-faire,
They have it. The type Bs can go with the flow better.
Even if they'll be stressed, right? Or, feel defeated when they've tried to do something the half-ass way and it didn't really work out for them.
Yeah.
But no, I think the type B people tend to do a little bit better with just going with the flow.
I can testify to that because I am the type A person and I am not good with major decisions, particularly when it comes to houses. I'm very happy in our house. My husband is too, but he is always looking. And it sort of stresses me out.
Oh, I have the same
he sends
feeling.
me links and my heart starts beating fast. And I'm like, but we're not moving. He's like, I know, I just liked this one. I was just showing it to you. But just that little thing makes me like.
that right there is what I see a whole lot. We get so emotionally attached to our spaces. Our homes are supposed to be our safe space. And that's with change too, with neurodivergent people, executive functioning. So I knew that this is where this was, or this, even if it didn't make sense for someone else. And if I'm in a new space, I have to relearn all that, right? That can be really debilitating for people sometimes. Going into a space where, or leaving a space where something really bad happened, but still not feeling safe in a newer space, that can, and like missing certain elements and being angry about like why they couldn't stay there. If it was divorce or, a childhood, home where there was just lots of not happy memories. It's really difficult for people emotionally to move on from a place that they feel really safe in. And it's also difficult for people to move on, even if they really want to sometimes. If there's like a lot of executive functioning difficulties and just, unresolved trauma that we're just dysregulated all the time and we can't find our footing. It's tough.
Yeah.
I feel the same way too. Like I love our house so much.
It feels like the longer you're there, the more you're the time does make a difference. So the longer you're in the house, the more you're like, I can't see myself anywhere else. I feel like the people who move frequently, it's just a part of who they are, right? They're just like, oh, I'm used to this. It's fine. Home is where your people are. It doesn't matter. But the longer you are in your home, the more it becomes, I think, dysregulating to think about, oh, I will move. What is the advice that you give people for this?
Well, I mean, why are you making this decision in the first place? Right. So one of your questions is like, do people kind of regret? I don't, yes, again, and friends or family, I've heard that over the years, but not so much with people who are being really intentional in counseling and making decisions after emotionally expressing themselves and then getting into the logical space. It's easier. But okay, I lost my train of thought. You have to ask me the question again.
Oh, no, that's okay. What's the advice to people who are feeling like the stress of any of it?
So just remembering why they're doing this.
Yeah, the first thing, yes. Okay, so what is the goal? What is your intention for doing this in the first place? We know these things are hard and it's really fun to dream and to think about future stuff. But when you're in it, it can feel like, am I making a mistake just because it's so stressful? But why are you doing this? Okay, let's stay grounded in that. And then knowing how to accommodate yourself. If you know that you are, you're going to need more time, maybe really quick turnarounds is not, for whatever the thing is not going to be your thing. So know what accommodations you need. If you know that you really do struggle, you're a workhorse, you can do stuff, but you really do struggle with that initial prioritizing and organizing, enlist a friend, hire someone to help you. Generally ask for help, ask for help for certain things, but know why you're doing this. If you are good at some things, great. If you're not, ask for help. Managing your expectations, I think, is really important. Again, because it's so exciting to do stressful things like buy a new home or renovate or whatever. You can just kind of get stuck in that and not realize that, my budget isn't really going to accommodate my dreams and or the timeline, or my nerves can't handle a 6-month renovation. They can only really do these few things at a time. So I'm going to have to tier this renovation instead of trying to do this all at once. Knowing yourself, which people do obviously come to therapy to better understand themselves and their needs, because, we get so much information from our environments, and some of it we internalize and it's helpful, and some of it, no, it's not.
I think you made a really good point about how people think first, like, oh, this is going to be a great idea. This is going to be really fun. Like, how many times have you heard someone say, oh yeah, I don't mind a house that needs a little bit of work, or I don't mind this, or I don't mind that. And then you show them a house that needs a little bit of work, and they're just like, I actually don't want to do this. Like, this is actually not what I want to do. And I've also had several pre-approval meetings where they're approved, you know, up to a certain point, but they're like, oh, but I love this $1,200 monthly note. So I'm going to make this my budget, even though I could go higher. I love the thought of a $1,200 monthly note.
It's really nice.
But when I show you the houses that will get you a $1,200 monthly note, they're like, I don't want to live here. And so it's like all these things that you think are going to be fun. It sounds fun to renovate a kitchen and pick out colors.
Not to me.
When you start doing it, you're like, oh, this is expensive. I have to manage people. I have to budget and pick out things. And all of a sudden, it loses all of its fun in the process at times. And I think a lot of it is like people think it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
So their expectations aren't always set properly.
It's not HGTV.
Right.
Let's talk about the renovators a little. So you've had people before who bought to and were going to renovate, or were renovating something to stay. I gotta believe, okay, because there's just this known thing people say, like when you go to build a house, you're like, oh, you're building your own house. Well, you know, that's a high cause for divorce. Like good luck making it through that. So I think it's kind of funny to think, yeah, exactly that. You're really excited. We're going to improve our space or build our new house or buy this, you know, shack and renovate it and make it the Taj Mahal, whatever. Tell me what the people say when they get into the renovation and they're stressed. Like, what is happening?
Again, I think the stress forces them into being more realistic and lowering their expectations, and again, asking for help. So what I see the most is people, because they don't have an endless budget, they really are genuinely trying to be frugal and trying to do things themselves. But sometimes those projects can really get out of hand and cause, then you have the back end, like, oh, I should have just hired someone, or oh, I already wasted this money. And so there's like the sunk cost fallacy.
Yes.
Right. So it's like, let me just keep going. Let me just keep going.
How do you get people to stop that? Like, what is the advice?
I just say, okay, kind of what I remind them what they've told me.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, you said, I need to get out of this. A month ago, you were considering that maybe you should shift gears. Now you're reverting back to, I'm doubling down. And I just am that direct. And, you know, if the rapport is there with someone, it's the kindest thing you can do is be honest.
Tell them the truth.
Truth.
The kindest thing you can do is tell someone the truth.
Absolutely. Yes. I really believe that. And it's really hard to do. It's not like shame on you if you can. It's hard to do because, again, we're kind of, especially as women, we're kind of trained to be pleasing and appeasing to
make
people.
Them feel better.
Don't ruffle feathers. And sorry, ruffling feathers helps you figure out how they need to smooth again, I guess. You know?
Right. That's a good point.
Can we talk a little bit about the first-time buyer, or just this maybe younger generation that wants to buy a house, and where the struggle for those people is?
Anger.
They're really
anger. Yeah. And I look, I think that is totally valid. I'm 36. Like, I could very well, if I wasn't such a tenacious young person who had supportive parents, they didn't, pay for anything, but I had a great job because I worked in my family's business. My husband had a great job because he did too. We just had a lot of support. People do not, unless they have family, right, and really supportive communities, they really don't have the same options. It's just point blank. We're in a housing crisis, right? Like, that's known, and it disproportionately affects people that aren't as wealthy.
Yeah, it does.
And it's really, people are angry and they don't stay there, right? I think, younger people are pretty good at adapting really quickly. And I think the tension between, we see this in like all different facets of life, like older generations and this generation, boomers and millennials, we obviously have different experiences, and that's why we have a different outlook. But younger people who feel stuck in a home, or like, again, families who maybe they're a larger family, and to take care of them, one person needs to work, and then the other person needs to work within the home to make sure like people are going to school and eating and have clean clothes and going to doctor's appointments. Like, it's really hard to have that lifestyle that many people want, but can't afford without a 2-income home at this point. Adults that want to even rent on their own and have their own space, but need roommates because they have other financial goals that they really want to pay attention to, like student loans, that affect your ability to do a lot of things if you don't, set a lot of, pay attention to them and pay them.
Yeah. And this is where I think too, it's so important for agents to know if there's programs out there available for these types. Like right now in Louisiana, we have some pretty amazing grant programs for first-time home buyers. And it's just there until the money runs out. And they basically input your household income. And if it's a certain number and they look at all your things, it spits out how much you would get for your down payment.
Oh, that's really cool. Share that with me.
It is really cool.
Yeah, we'll share it with you.
Share that with me so I can share it with my clients.
And then they also have one, like just for example, it's called Keys for Service, where it's a grant for people in law enforcement and healthcare and teachers. So those 3 professions have access to down payment programs. I actually just had someone come to my open house, and they were both teachers. And they were like, we're just browsing because we don't have any money yet.
Looky loose.
Yeah. They were like, that's why we're at the open house. They were like, we just don't have enough money. We have good jobs, but we're still trying to save. And I said, did you know that there is a grant like specifically for teachers? And 3 weeks later, we are under contract and they're buying a house.
That's
but
so awesome.
So many agents, I think, are afraid to talk about money with people. They think it's too personal, too private, but it's like it's such a big part of our job.
It really is.
To help people problem solve and figure out what the options are.
Yep. I mean, I don't, counseling is definitely not a place where anything is like, we're going to talk about all those things, but I could see how that would be seen as like maybe crossing a boundary with a client, especially if they've already been approved or whatever. But I would appreciate that information if I was honest, like, this is our situation.
Yeah.
People don't, throw that out there because they just want to say it. They're looking for some kind of solution. They're sharing their struggle so they can, maybe someone else feels the same and they just feel validated, or someone has some information like you just shared to change that. So that's really helpful.
Is that the best we can do to get past the anger, is just kind of like let them get it out? I mean, in your case, you're just helping them talk it through.
Yeah.
There's really
we don't just stop with the like, I'm angry, but like I often say to clients, like, what we don't express is we're going to depress, right? We're going to get depressed if we are never really expressing how we're feeling. And that can look a lot of different ways. It doesn't always have to be like rage, but being angry, people can be angry and talk just like this. And it's usually more like of a sadness. So once we get past the frustration and this isn't fair and I don't know how I'm going to get out of this, it goes to not necessarily despair, but like, this sucks. And I don't like this. And this is like, then we can go to, okay, because I did that and I acknowledge that, now I can look at some gratitude things. I can kind of look at the positive things that I have going on. That does not work if we start there. We have to have a space where we really acknowledge what we're actually feeling and go through the roller coasters of those emotions, because it's really not anger. Anger is not just one thing. It leads to so many other things.
It goes through all the steps, until you finally get to acceptance.
Yeah.
And then you kind of fluctuate.
And I try not to, managing sessions, like if I know someone is really frustrated and kind of despondent about a situation, there's nothing I can do about it. Then you do need to talk about all the crap, but before we go, we're going to push it uphill and look and get you into a different space. Okay, I released all of that stuff and that was true, but I can't stay there. And I'm going to try and like encourage on the back end before you're leaving with like some tangible things. I like to be creative with clients. I think our coping skills are the best ones we have, are the ones we create for ourselves, or, that we tweak in some way that fits us. So just helping them with skills to not stay in that emotion, because that is not helpful.
Okay, help us, because we're what I would like to call reluctant therapists. Right? We are getting these people in highly emotional states as realtors. I mean, that's what our audience is, realtors. And if any of you asked any of them, they would be like, I didn't realize I would be providing so much therapy.
Absolutely.
Untrained therapy.
Guidance.
Yes. So will you help us, like when you're talking about getting them to push up that hill and kind of maybe leaving with some, skills or tools to kind of get through that? Do you have any advice for us on how to handle these highly emotional situations with our clients?
Yeah, honestly, you do work in a way as like a mini counselor when people are making huge life decisions. They rely, and whether you're a lawyer or whatever, like you have clients and you're a professional that is helping someone solve something, you're going to get dumped on.
Yeah.
So soft skills, I think y'all do that pretty well. Like Katy's really good at gifting, right? And making an effort to like, okay, this is important to me and people love it. I've always loved that. That I do consider that a soft skill, showing, our body language, your facial expression, the tone, your, how open you are. If you're like all crossed up, like pay attention when someone is really dysregulated. You mirror what they could be like.
Okay.
So that's so hard, right? But it's like parenting. Y'all have kids. We all have kids.
Yeah.
So, when you have to like put your mask on first and try to get yourself regulated and in an okay space so that you can respond to what's going on instead of react with them and build.
Okay.
Yeah. Which can piss some people off.
Do you have give me some specific like body language or face?
Openness. So just like, I try to I wiggle a lot, the ADHD, but with clients, I really try to make sure this is comfortable for me.
Yes.
But that's not opening, the visual of it isn't like, okay, yeah, give me your stuff.
So a lot of agents in their business card have the
true.
Super
arms crossed.
business arms crossed. But that is like the worst thing we can do.
Counselors
right?
are taught for headshots to just like to be
we
open.
Want to just open our arms.
You don't know what to do with your hands, doesn't matter. Just be open.
Just open. Okay. What about the face?
Face, I mean, some of us are like, we're our own personalities, right? Like I'm not going to, if you know about yourself that you have a really expressive face, I do. If I'm listening to someone's story and it's like we have a really good rapport, then I'm not paying as much attention. But if I'm first meeting with a client or we've only had like 3 sessions, I really have to be very mindful about how my face reacts to what they're telling me because I don't know what they feel about it.
Yeah.
I just know what
So you're trying to keep it neutral.
Trying to keep it neutral for a little bit, right? To build rapport, to build trust. And then once you do that, people are going to, what do you think? Or you didn't, isn't that crazy? Or that kind of thing. The more rapport I have with someone, the more natural I am in my reactions. Like, oh, that sucked, or oh, that was crazy, right? But at first, I'm just like, okay, and look like pensive.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Like,
yes.
Like, I am really curious about what you're saying right now. And okay. Also, then this is a soft skill too, but you don't have to solve every problem in that moment. And you can remind your clients like, okay, you're saying this, reflect back their biggest issues, right? You're going to catch a bunch of things in between curse words or tears or whatever, rants, catch what their pain points are. Don't tell them what they're feeling, but it seems like you're really frustrated. Wow, I can tell you are just so beyond stressed right now. I wouldn't use words like I would use the words like you're very dysregulated because I like to give clients like those words, but just, wow, I'm noticing this and that's validating.
Yeah.
It sounds like this thing that I'm catching have really thrown you for a loop. I'm not sure what to do about that right now because you don't want to go into super solving with them, even if you already know the answer.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that for people to latch on to that as a solution, that they can come back down. And maybe that doesn't happen in a single moment that you're talking to your client. Maybe you have to, like in relationships, we have to pause this for a second and we'll come back to it when when you're okay. Or if you notice like, okay, it's been 30 minutes and I've held myself as the adult in the room, the parent, right? And I can't do it anymore. It is 100% okay for you to shut it down. And I would, as a counselor, I would in relationships with any of my friends or family, if our conversation just got
too far,
right? We got to stop. And you can say, hey, I hear everything you're saying. And I don't think we're going to fix it in this space tonight. So let's talk first thing in the morning. Go have a bath, eat something. Maybe don't pack a box tonight. Just rest.
Oh, that's a really good tip. A lot of times we have trouble because agents are reacting to everything their client does with urgency. And sometimes these clients really do need to sleep on these decisions, and they're jumping to one response and the agent's just like jumping to attention. And a lot of times you as the agent have to like put some time in between and be like, hey, good news. You don't actually have to make this choice until tomorrow at 5. So why don't we reconvene in the morning and talk about it some more? I think that if we just take their first response, first of all, you're going to lose deals all the time.
Yes.
Your clients are going to lose what they want because a lot of times they wake up the next day and like, I don't know why I was so like strong about that response. I don't mind doing that repair or I don't mind buying a house that's this like, or I don't, that, counter offer wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I caught you doing a lot of we read never split the difference words. Like it sounds like, Never Split the Difference is the FBI negotiator Chris Voss has this book about negotiating.
I've heard about him before.
Okay. And he uses a lot of it sounds like and it seems like, and then kind of mirroring
what
or
counselors
at least
do.
Filling in what you are perceiving.
Yes.
Because you have to get them to actually confirm.
And it shows that you're listening and that you're empathetic and that you can pick up on what's going on for them emotionally and in the reality, the tangible things.
Yeah.
It's helpful. Oh, okay, you see me.
Yeah. A lot of times Alissa uses this, you said, like it has to remind them of what they said before.
I do that all the time.
Is that okay?
It is because first of all, y'all, just like me in a counseling space, you as a realtor, you're that thermometer, right? If it's going too high, right? Okay, well, I'm not going to put it down. So I got to leave this situation, but you flow with that. And it's okay. It's okay to remind people what they say, because again, when we're emotionally dysregulated, we are mostly in the center of our brain, the emotional part of our brain, and we don't have our prefrontal cortex fully online. So you just slowing it down and being open. Okay. Even if you're like, oh God, this is happening again, right? Do your absolute best to watch
watch your face.
Watch your face.
Yeah.
And be aware of how long you can hold that space for someone, what your limitations are. Some people are way more soft-spoken and they're emotional, but it's not as like, right.
Yeah.
But that can get old too. But yeah, it's really okay to remind people what they said, because when they're in an emotional state, they're not, that actually helps them come back online.
Right.
So like, well, let's talk about some grounding things that could be helpful. So it's not just like, let me look like I'm listening to you and be very pensive and curious and reflect accurately things back to you like I have a counseling degree, right?
Right.
It's very hard. Grounding skills that you can do is like, people kind of mimic each other. So if you're like,
you can get them to breathe.
It might make them slow down to go, okay, right?
Yeah.
Again, if you know this client more, you may feel more comfortable to say, hey, or put a hand on them, like, hey, let's just take a breath right now. It's really intense. Like, I need it too, right? Doing it together. Silly little questions, right? So this is something that they may not recognize as like a technique, but so if someone is like in it and you've validated, we've reflected, they've kind of calmed down and they're just kind of seem offline still, right? To get their thinking brain back on. What'd you have you can make up whatever. It makes sense for you in that moment, but it's like, what'd you have for breakfast this morning? You doing anything tonight? What's your favorite color? Don't ask me what your favorite color is. That's dumb. But
just random questions.
Random questions that make sense in the moment, because they can probably answer them quicker. And if they're like, oh, I don't even know. Okay, well then let's ask something that's like not breakfast if it's 7 p.m. if that they're like that far away from it. You're just trying to bring them into the present moment. Wow, I didn't notice that chandelier. Where'd you get that?
Oh, fascinating.
You're just shifting their focus on the problem and their emotions, and it just helps, again, just go, put this back up here. And then you may go, okay, so this is what I think. We're going to talk in the morning. I hear you. I understand. Get some rest, that kind of stuff. So getting them to breathe, silly little questions, moving. So if it's like we're standing here or we're sitting down, like, let's go take a little walk around, or let's just go sit in the backyard, or let's just stand up, or you could stand up. Like, just moving your body position can just like shift people's attention. Again, like walking and having to look from space to space does help us regulate and be more present. That's why they're like, go on a walk.
Yeah. Okay. This makes sense to me.
Love the podcast, but haven't left a review yet?
We see you and we forgive you, but today's the day.
Reviews help other realtors find us, so it's kind of like a referral for our show.
And we know y'all love a good referral.
So just scroll down, tap the stars, and tell us your favorite episode or what has helped you the most.
It takes less time than waiting for a lockbox to open, and it makes our day.
It sure does.
Now, here's my question. A lot of the interactions that we have with our clients that are maybe more tense are typically during the transaction where you're talking about being on the phone.
Okay. Yes.
So, or God forbid, some people insist on texting. I feel like you got to be on
zero advice for you with the texting.
Point, yeah. At some point, it's just, you just can't do
just
it that
don't
way.
Respond.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say we're on the telephone. How do we do some? I can get up and move, but I can't make them.
That's great for you. Yes. Then the words that you're saying and like you really, really listening in, how you reflect back to them. Okay, this is what I'm hearing. And this is what you're feeling. You don't tell them what they're feeling, but you are. You're just kind of like, it seems like, right?
It seems like, it sounds like, okay.
Right. And I mean, most people want that. I don't want my husband to tell me how I feel, even though he knows, and he doesn't want me to tell him how he feels, even though I absolutely know. Maybe I don't, it's just not fair.
Right.
So, it seems like, and you can just say, is that accurate? Right. Yes. Right. So once you get that, like, okay, they're hearing me, then you can go into game plan. Okay. And be as brief as you can. I talk really fast. I can give way too much information sometimes.
Me too.
That's an ADHD
like just
thing.
keeping talking too much.
Yes, because you get you're motivated.
Yeah.
And you have so many ideas, right? Be careful with that. And I have to do this a lot with clients. You have to really be careful not to pile too much on when it's been an emotional phone call or interaction.
Do you have some tips for this? Like when you're like, I know there are 4 solutions, but maybe I should only offer 1 or 2.
And before, like, I think sometimes where agents go wrong too is that somebody has to be the strong sounding board that is pointing out the correct things. Like, I know that these feelings are happening, but maybe you feel this way, but I don't think that it's actually accurate. And a lot of times, like buyers or sellers, they get aggravated in the process and create stories in their head about the other person. They're awful. They're doing this. They're doing that. Like they take everything very personal. And I do think it's our job as agents to also, it's hard because you have to acknowledge their feelings, but sometimes I find myself politely, gently correcting their feelings,
With that, okay. I totally understand. You will get more buy-in, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just being like, okay, because you don't know what people are going through emotionally or what's triggering them because of some past. We just really don't know anything about what's going on inside of other people's brains and bodies.
Right.
So if you know that, like, we need to move on from this. Validating, right? Because it's not your job to challenge them. And are you telling the truth about the situation to better? Is this affecting your relationship? You're not the counselor, right?
Right.
You can just that makes sense. Okay, wow. I understand that that's how you feel right now. From my perspective, and in reality, this is what has to happen.
Yeah.
That makes sense though.
Mm-hmm. That's a good way to put it.
Never thought about it that way.
Yeah, I understand
Okay.
that's how you feel right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good one.
I just understand how you feel.
Mm-hmm. I understand
Yeah.
how you feel.
I understand how you feel.
That's good.
That makes sense. I didn't see it that way.
Mhm.
Now that you explained it, even if you didn't want him to explain it. Okay. I understand. And still, this is what has to happen. So
Mhm.
you're not changing your professional opinion,
Yeah.
right? You're going to stand on that because it's accurate or it's the most ethical thing to do, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, okay, yeah, I understand. That makes sense, and I can consider
Mhm.
that, or I understand that a bit more now. And we're going to have to still
Have
do
some
this, make this
solutions.
decision, or think about it this way, because that's actually not what's going on in reality. And again, the level of relationship, sometimes you'll meet with people for the first time and feel like, oh, wow, we just really, really click. That it is not really time dependent, but
Mhm.
if you have a more secure rapport with someone, then you can definitely be like, now remind them what they said the last time, or yeah, I know you feel this way, but that doesn't make sense with the decision we have to make. Like
Right.
you need to consider that and feel that. I don't want to push that down, but that's really not what we need to focus on right now.
I try to keep people focused on like the next step. Like after we've had at some point, it's funny because my boss, my broker, whenever we're in our meetings on Mondays, it's sort of like our venting session where we do start off with what we're struggling with, but then go for the solution, get it out and then go for a solution. And someone just had a really big deal fall apart. And our broker was like, give yourself 48 hours and then you got to move on. And the agent goes, I think we used to have 72 hours. Like the time is getting shorter.
You're giving me less time.
Less time to process. But I mean,
but sometimes that can be helpful, less time to process something.
I know. That's kind of how I'm like, I try not to let them
stew. We don't want to
stew
stew
too long because then it just gets, it's harder to get them out.
Oh, and I agree. Especially if you know this client is presenting more anxiously, or
Yes.
you can
They'll
tell that they
spiral.
have issues with organization, or they feel overwhelmed often. And
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up anxiety, because I have had a few sellers this year that were more emotional than normal, and one who was so anxious about every piece of the process. And we'd worked together several times before. So it was not the first house he's bought or sold. It's actually like the third or fourth, but every part of the process was so anxiety inducing. His wife kind of jokingly, but also I really was concerned he might have a heart attack. I was like, you seem like on a level.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what to do with that. Do you have any advice?
Mm-hmm. Same. I'm noticing this, and hey, we need to let's sit down. Let's slow it down. I mean, honestly, that's part of like keeping the temperature at the thing you wanted to. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
You do have, I guess you do. You work so much with the public, you do have to find ways to bring people down a notch. And it's like,
because it can be scary. I'm like, I am worried about you.
Yes, name it is helpful.
Okay.
I'm sensing some people may be more comfortable with that than others, but I'm sensing like what the FBI dude's saying. That means I don't know 100% what's going on, but I'm going to call out what I feel right now and what I'm observing, because that's often what we need to do to get through it, is to go, this is happening.
Okay.
Right. And that's kind of goes back to like, we can tell them remind them what they said, or that's not going to, Again, being honest is kind.
Yeah. Okay.
And
that's
not
good.
everybody,
being honest is kind.
Yeah.
Not everybody is aware of how they present to other people, right? That self-awareness. Not everybody is really aware. And so it's okay. Honestly, so many people are okay with that. Like, because it's helpful. No one wants to be up here, right? And so if you go, wow, it seems like you're right here right now. Why don't we slow down when we sit down, when we take a breath, like, let's what did you eat for breakfast this morning? Kind of thing.
Right.
They may go, oh, wow, I really didn't even notice that I was that anxious, or that I could even calm down.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It feels like it's too far gone in their head.
I mean, just modeling to our kids how to showing them how we regulate so they can learn that it's the same exact thing. We're all just a bunch of toddlers.
I was going to say, it's just like having a toddler. You just distract. But name it. This is what seems like is going on. And I really want to be able to help you. And to do that, I think first step, we got to ground ourselves. We got to breathe. We got to chill. This makes sense to me. Now, here's my question, because sometimes we have clients who are just plain old mean to us.
Mm-hmm.
They are yelling at us. They are blaming us for everything. They are mean.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, besides having to deal with my own feelings about that, what is the way to handle that? Like when it feels maybe like they've pushed a boundary,
Mm-hmm.
what is your advice?
My advice really is, I mean, I put this on here. I have 2 things. So let me look at this
pull
real
them up
quick.
because this is very important. They get crazy sometimes.
They do. And I feel like in the last 2 years, as the market has been so tough, the emotions are coming out even more lately.
And then you have to be the punching bag, but there's got to be limits or ways to like, you don't want to be miserable.
There's limits. So this is from like a client perspective, like what advice would you give clients? So I do talk about this with clients and with friends and family. I say I love to encourage my clients to enact self-compassion and empathy for others in these scenarios when we feel what we feel is often not the problem. It's how we express it within ourselves and with others that can be the barrier to finding solutions. So be kind, but they're not being kind. But I do, from my perspective with sellers or buyers, like I'm telling, watch your face, watch your tone.
Yeah.
You don't own this person. Like what?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you feel so entitled? I do call out people like that. And like, you get, what is grandmother sayings? Like, get more
flies with honey.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
really
typically how I work.
We have to, but I'm telling clients that. I'm going to get to what y'all should do when you can't control.
Okay.
I'm telling clients who are frustrated with any kind of professional, a doctor, a lawyer, a financial advisor. This person just, and I'm like, well, then why are you still with them?
Right. Yeah.
Are y'all not a good fit?
Mm-hmm.
No, I just don't like that. Have you expressed that to them? And it's either no, and they just bitch behind their back, or they are overly expressing and have demands that are just too much.
Yeah.
I will tell people that's too much. For you, same thing for us as counselors. In training, if I'm not a couples counselor, number one, I cannot handle that.
That's funny.
I only see individuals. Sometimes I'll have people come in or parents come in if it's a child, all that, but I'm not a family or a couples counselor.
Okay. Good to know.
It's a lot. In saying that, I lost my train of thought, so let me get it back.
Well, they're being angry and mean to us as the agent or the counselor.
As a counselor, if people are yelling at you, a client is yelling at you and they are cursing, and after a warning, they do not stop, or if they consistently speak to you in a certain way after you have set that boundary, you're fired.
Right.
Yeah.
You're fired.
Yeah.
And that's for my safety.
Mm-hmm.
And that's for y'all's safety if you were to do that as well. Emotional and psychological safety is safety. We often just think about safety as in like our physical safety, right? Mm-hmm. Be aware of your surroundings. Don't go to this place at this time alone, right? Those things. But emotionally and psychologically, you have to protect yourself too. And there are some unsafe people that will end up on your caseload.
Mm-hmm.
We call it caseload. There are some unsafe people that will, for you, right? And it doesn't seem like with that tension, I've been able to kind of quickly like, all right, we've had this conversation. I can't do this anymore. Would you like me to give you some referrals?
Yeah.
No, walk out. Right.
Yeah.
It's happened with people and that's fine. My obligation is to see if I can refer you out. And I was very clear that like, we don't want to terminate clients. You don't want to abandon your clients, but when you set clear boundaries, and it usually is around how they are how you're speaking to me right now. Couples therapists, it's like y'all are going to get heated, but, and I worked around a bunch of couples therapists, but the same thing. If you cannot modulate your tone and think about what you're saying, right? The intensity of it or the cruelty of it, right? Then we have to stop.
Yeah.
We can try again next time, but we have to stop it right now. I'm not going to engage with you like that.
Do you find they're usually responsive when you set the when you give the warning or set the boundary, or is it kind of 50-50?
If they want to really work on something, then again, they appreciate like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. They may be upset with themselves, but then we're not going to go to pity party after we just berated.
Yeah.
Like level it out.
Right.
I had a very difficult client who was a very respected like builder in our community. And I was very honored to be chosen to be his representative. And I felt like I was treading lighter than I should have. And he wasn't always speaking to me in a way that, it was always a little bit harsh or rude and I just kind of was letting it slide. And one day I finally just said, you can't speak to me that way. And I'm not doing anything else until these things are done at your house.
Mm-hmm.
And it was almost like he was so taken aback. And he was like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we never had a problem the rest of the time we worked together. And I thought, why didn't I do this sooner?
Because the dynamics there with like gender roles and like, okay, talking down all of that. We just assume maybe it's okay. Maybe I'm reading too much into it or whatever. So it can take some time to stand up for yourself. Like definitely there's like glaring, okay, this person's like a rocket every session and it's disruptive and I can't even think, right? So how are we going to get good work done? But there's times when you are like, did that happen? Am I reading into this too much?
Right.
Is this going on? So it can take a while to speak up for yourself, but absolutely people respect it.
Yeah.
If you're being disrespected,
yeah.
Yes, one of two things is going to happen. They're going to go, oh, okay, and shift. Maybe they apologize, maybe they don't, but the behavior changes.
Sure.
Or they're like, you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And okay, I don't want any referrals. I don't want to do this and bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's an
You've
ending.
achieved your goal either way.
Right.
You're not being spoken to that way anymore.
No. And I mean, I understand that people may act out and then apologize to you, right? So it's like, oh, this is stressful, but they come back online and then they're aware and they fix it. Okay. But if it's like every time you then become aware and then you come back online, like I don't know if I can, continue helping you with this because this is the pattern.
This is the pattern.
This is
like
pattern.
an abusive relationship.
It's a pattern I've noticed. And you apologize to me, but we're
back right where we started.
Exactly.
Oh.
You can be that direct and that honest. And again, if someone's like really like name calling, cursing at you, threatening, goodbye.
Yeah.
Goodbye. And I've only had that happen once, but.
And I think so many agents cannot turn off their brains. They are working 24/7, but they're not really. They're just
stressing.
They're stressing. They're overthinking. They're obsessively checking their email. They don't take time off. They're carrying all their clients' emotions. Like, how do we as agents do a good job and still care about people without letting it infiltrate our lives?
Yeah, that's really hard for y'all's profession because you do work such odd hours and have to communicate with people when they're available too, right? Which is after working hours, weekends. And that's so hard. So good for y'all. Like that's really hard. Y'all are really good at systems. I think we have to treat our genuine self-care like I need to go to bed at this time. I need to put the phone away at this time. I need to eat at these times. I need to drink water. I need to be present with my family. Like whatever those things are for you. And you have to kind of treat it as if it is a business.
It is a business.
A part of
like
your business
scheduled
plan.
in.
Like,
Yes.
yes. Like, because if it's easy for me to prioritize these things for work because I'm motivated to do it. It's interesting to me. It's my livelihood, all of that kind of stuff. But then when we don't have anything to do and we're trying to rest, it's just like, okay, we do not put the same amount of effort into our own care
Yes.
that we're giving out all the time. And in that case, then you really have to kind of be a drill sergeant with yourself.
With yourself.
And sometimes your clients.
Like and I mean that with like compassion.
Yeah.
Like, no, you are worth going to sleep at least 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, you cannot, after this many times of seeing the same pattern with yourself, you cannot have showings on this day after this time. You can't do it.
Yeah.
No. Right.
Right.
Well, I think it's such a reminder too that we actually are not therapists. We are actually not responsible for their mental well-being.
You're not.
And we are not emergency room doctors on call.
I'm not either.
Right.
I
and
am
so
not a
many
crisis counselor.
agents treat it that way. Everything is urgent. Everything must be responded to immediately.
No. In your working hours, being super efficient within your working hours, great. And it's not like we can't, none of us can be really, really strict on ourselves in any way, because that is just, it's too stringent. It's not realistic. You're going to check an email sometimes after hours. You're going to answer a phone, even though you're like, I really don't want to. And I told myself it's after sometimes you are.
Yeah.
But the more consistent you can be with, nope, not my chair, not my problem.
Yeah.
I've done my job. Reality statements for yourself. I probably say this at like every session with okay, what's the reality statement for this situation? I'm a human being and I am tired and the client can wait. The thing is not going to fall. Whatever the worst case scenario is, tell yourself that is not going to happen. The sun is going down and will come up tomorrow. Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
I like that.
Oh, that's so good.
Reality statements.
I
like that better than affirmations.
I do too. I like it. Anybody can use any of those words that feels best, but that one is like, I feel like not as, it doesn't have the connotations that affirmations or manifestations.
For a boundary, I think. If you're like, I'm kind of elevating the situation to being like, I need to think about this all night long and stay up all night and be worried. But like the reality is, I don't actually have to solve this right now.
What would the reality be? What could the reality be if you did stay up all night? What would the reality be for you tomorrow?
I would be tired the next day.
Grumpy.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just basic cognitive behavioral therapy, but reality statements, like, I'm just like, okay. Because we can go to that emotional space, especially if we're tired, especially if we need a break, especially if we haven't eaten well enough that day, or we're not feeling very good, or there's something going on with our kid, or, we get overwhelmed.
This was so good.
And you're a human.
Oh my God, so good.
Helpful.
Very helpful.
Especially approaching like the holidays when we're going to be trying to spend time with our families and kids are out of school.
Turn it off.
I've gotten to where I love looking at a response time and being like, okay, good, I have a few hours.
Yeah, honestly, y'all are good. And people that worry about this the most, you're responsive, you're professional, you're doing what you need to be doing. Yeah. That's a reality statement too. So maybe being more realistic looks like, okay, I need to state to my clients, if I behaved in a way that like I modeled, like I'm always available, then I may need to, as I'm shifting that over time with something I decide isn't working for me anymore, you can say that to clients like, hey, I normally would respond like right away or pretty quickly, but right now I'm just giving myself 24 hours. And I know that there's other things that are time sensitive, but if you have operated one way, and if it's a new client and you are operating this way, you can say, hey, my policy, or however you want to say that is, if I can respond like pretty soon, I do. But if not, give me 24 hours. Or however long you need.
It's just really about setting an expectation.
Yes. Managing those expectations and just being realistic with your capacity, with your client's capacity.
Yeah. It's great.
This was good.
This was so helpful, Mary.
This is very fun.
Do you have any other things you feel like we need to hear? Did we hit all the high points?
We covered a lot.
We're basically training a whole slew of realtor therapists.
Well, I do want to say, I gave you're people, realtors are people, and you're going to do a lot of these things naturally. And it is a hard job.
Yeah.
You're not always going to be able to, and you shouldn't always have to utilize the grounding techniques and the soft skills. And I'm listening way beyond what you should not have to do that all the time. And use your intuition. Is it something that I can handle? Is it a one-time thing with this person? But listen to yourself. And you know what? People don't like to be referred for therapy because it's like, oh, you need counseling. But again, maybe noticing that someone is more anxious, you can just say, hey, look, you've been feeling like this for like a month or for this long. Like you really can go talk to somebody, or why don't you talk to your doctor? Like you don't have to carry all that yourself.
Yeah.
That's very, very simple. It depends on the relationship. I understand. But then go get help for yourself, because I'm not your doctor. I'm not your counselor.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
You know, unfortunately, I feel like the ones that are the most off the rails are typically men who are less likely. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
The anxiety, the anger, the stress.
Anger.
But
I guess
I've been seeing more anxious males than usual. Like the last 2 years, it seems like the men are actually the more anxious. I just had one. I have a couple that the husband is extremely anxious, said that a few times. We got into the pit of the due diligence period requesting things. And he basically sent an email and was like, thank y'all so much. You and my wife just talk. Don't copy me on any more emails. I am in a very fragile state.
Good boundary for him.
I was so proud of him. I actually wrote him an email back being like, this was an amazing email. Me and your wife are going to work our way through this. He said, she handles the finances in our family anyway. So I trust her, and she knows she's not going to make a decision that's going to hurt our family, but I can't sleep at night. So y'all work this out.
The acknowledgement.
And let me know if we're moving forward.
That's a good example of a client knowing how they need to accommodate themselves.
Yeah.
And he did. I was so proud of him.
Yeah.
But again, I have been seeing more of that from the men.
Interesting. Did you bring a toast for us?
Yeah, well, okay. So I just, had this journey, a long journey of going back for my master's and then provisional license, and then getting fully licensed and starting my own practice. And none of that would have happened without my husband, Jeremy.
He's so sweet.
Yeah, he is. And I couldn't have done this without him. Like, financially couldn't have done this without him. And it's a huge sacrifice for a family to, we're trucking along. And at 30, I was like, I need to quit my job and I need to go back to school and I can't work right now. Right. And I was like, okay.
I love it.
Well, we're not buying a new house.
Not right now.
This was not a buyer solicitation.
No, I'm okay with that for the moment. So my husband, Jeremy, just being solid over the past few years.
Well, it seems like it's a really good fit for you. It's perfect for your personality.
I love it. I really love it.
I'm so glad that you're doing that and that you came and shared it with us because we needed it.
Yes, actual podcast therapy.
We just pretend. We cosplay as therapists.
I mean, it is pretending sometimes, right? To get you to elicit a certain type of experience for someone, to get them to express something, to get them to not express something. Yeah. You're the thermometer in your space, and I am too. And we have a lot of power in that.
We are the thermometer.
We are.
So good.
But what would you like? Because we're the thermometer, but we can't be the...
No, because if they're affecting it, right? And their attitude,
you're just measuring.
So you're the thermometer,
you're just
right?
measuring.
So I am in control. I am in control. I am in control. And then because of what they're doing, the external environmental factor, right, is causing that temperature. So if I notice that my thermometer's going up, then I got to get myself out of this so I can go regulate, and then I can be more effective again.
You're going to love this analogy. Alissa made this analogy a while ago on the show, just it came up. She's like, my clients are on the roller coaster. I am just the operator. I put them in, I strap them in, and then they're going to take the ride. I am here. I've got the brakes. I've got the controls. I'll be here when you arrive, but I can't get on the roller coaster with you. I just can't.
Someone has to control the roller coaster.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Not like you turn their thermometer up or down.
Right.
You are aware of your own.
Oh, yeah.
You're aware of your own. And that way you don't go, okay, your thermometer already broke. We're off. So and mine is about to. So I am the professional in the room, so I have to steer the ship. But no, they have their own thermometers. And if they can't keep it at a certain level, then
Okay.
you get to say, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
here's the referral.
I love it. Okay, well, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. This is really fun.
Bye.
Bye.
Wait, before you go, if you enjoyed this episode and if we brought you value, take a minute to rate the show, leave a review, or drop a comment.
We are giving away our best stuff for free. Find it at hustlehumblypodcast.com/freebies.
We'd also love to see you in Hustle Humbly community. Join us there at hustlehumblypodcast.com/membership.
We love chatting with you in our DMs. Find us on social media at Hustle Humbly Podcast and say hello.
If you have an episode topic or someone you'd like to toast on the show, please email us at team@hustlehumblypodcast.com.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Hustle Humbly Podcast. See you next week.